everyone. This is Tanya from Flying Dog Studio. Thank you so much for joining me for part 2 of my Cicely Mary Barker study, where we are using the Winsor & Newton Watercolor Studio pencils. And we are going to continue on where we left last. Just a reminder, I'm using a size 6 round and a size 3 round from Winsor & Newton watercolor brushes. And then these are the sets that we've been using, the skin tones and the floral tones. I will be bringing in another set in a future video, so be watching for that. Now, the points that are pointed up, and that one was upside down, but the tips that are pointed up, those are the ones that we have already used in the set. And I'll be bringing in some more of those pencils. Plus, like I said, either in this video or in the next one, I'll be bringing in one other set because I didn't have enough in these two sets to complete what I needed to complete on this piece. So much like the last one, we're going to start with putting down the color. And I'm going to be bearing down a little harder in this than I did at the beginning. At the beginning, we were simply putting down our base colors. I don't want to go too hard on that. It's always easier to add more in than it is to take it away. So I'm using the same colors, and I will slow that down so you can see. This right now is antique pink, and this comes out a very hot pink if you bear down hard. But I do need these flowers to have a bit more color than what they had before. So I'm going to add a bit more color with those. I come back to the, I believe it's burnt carmine. I'll be using that and bringing in some other colors to kind of get this a little bit darker and to add some form to it, because we have our base now, but we want to turn this into a three-dimensional piece. So I need to add a little bit more pressure to my pencil, add a few darker colors in here to create some depth in the piece. So that's what you're going to see me doing here. And if you haven't caught the previous video on this, I'm going to link that down below, along with links on where I got my paper and the pencils I'm using. Also, other helpful videos like how you can turn your iPad into a Lightbox. If you feel you need a little extra help in drawing people or flowers or anything, I'm going to have that down there below as well. And if you're just joining the channel, if you just found me, welcome to the channel. If you come back and you're a regular attender to see what I'm doing, welcome back. I'm always so happy to have you guys here. And another little information for you. I've mentioned this in some previous videos, but YouTube has started something called courses. And if you go to my channel and look at the little tabs on there and kind of scroll over to the right, I think it's more toward the end, you'll see something that says courses. And what courses is just a collection of videos that there is more than one video that will teach you a concept. So we're on part 2 of this Cicely Mary Barker. There will be several parts to this little mini series. So it's like a collection of little mini series, and I'll have them categorized there. So if you're interested in watercolor, this will be under watercolor. If you're interested in watercolor or carandache or inking or whatever, I'm going to have that down there. So take a look. I'm happy you're here. I hope you can find something that will be useful to you. But we're going to continue on with this piece right now. And this is my process. I'm going to be adding these colors in, and something I'm going to be doing a little bit differently than the last video. Whereas we were layering, so we have one layer down, I'm putting another layer on top. And last video is pretty basic. There was not any mixing of colors. It was simply laying down a color, and then we're going to add one on top. That's what we're doing now. But I will be adding some colors together. So where you're seeing me put down this antique pink, I may come back and put another color with it and activate both of them at the same time instead of doing it as a layer at a time. I am going to have some colors that will be mixed right on the paper. So I'll be looking for that. But I'm going to get off now and let you watch me work, and I'll hop back on in a few minutes. But until then, enjoy a little musical interlude. It was at this point when I realized I was going to have to bring in that third set before I could finish this piece. The set that I'm using, the floral set, it does have a couple of greens in it, but it doesn't have enough to really give the colors I needed for the leaves. And it has a blue in it, but the blue is too bright. I need something darker. It didn't have dark enough colors for me to achieve what I needed to achieve. And I'm sure I could have taken several colors and mixed them together, but sometimes when you get 3, 4 colors and mix them together, you muddy things up. And you're going to see that on this stem where his hands come around it. I already have a couple of colors down there. I'm going to have to add a third in order to get the right color. And that third color is going to come from this set that I'm going to be bringing in later. So I've said it in other videos and I'll say it again. If you want to get watercolor pencils, I really love the Winsor & Newton. Don't get the Studio Collection, because if you haven't seen my other video where I open this up, unbox it, it's a set of 5 curated sets. And some of the colors are repeated. There are colors that they really, I feel, needed in some of the sets that weren't there, so you have to borrow from other sets. So if you're going to take these out and you say, hey, I'm just going to grab my floral because I'm going to do some floral pieces today, I'm going to go out and paint on the site, I'm going to do some plein air painting, you're going to be sad because you don't have everything that you need. So you really need to bring the entire set. Just forget that. Go ahead and get like the larger set that has 70 pencils in it, because you get all of these pencils. These sets do not contain anything that the 70 doesn't contain. The 70 has everything, plus it has more, and you're only paying about $30 more. So if I were you, I would go ahead and get the bigger set. Okay, I'm probably going to say that in every video that I use these on. Forgive me for repeating myself, but I know I have people that have never heard it on here, and I want you to hear it. Just buy the bigger set. So I am activating these now, and you can see that, yes, it is getting darker, and you'll notice also I have not painted some areas. That's because those are going to be our highlights. So it's going to remain a lighter pink. I just need to get the shapes in there because these have little ruffles to them, the edges of these flowers, and it reminds me of like the edge of a skirt or something, or material. So I'm getting all of that shading in there for those, therefore the darker areas, but not everything was colored over again with the pink. I do have to, it's kind of like the book, if you give a mouse a cookie, you're going to have to give it a glass of milk. Some areas where I have darkened it, I will have to come back and add some more pink in, but not a whole lot. I don't want to add too much, but I do kind of have to even that out. I don't want some areas too light. I just need a little shadow here and there. And so that's what you're going to see me doing on this part. And I'm going to let you watch me work again for just a few more minutes. Just a little more activation, and then all of these colors will be activated. Now, what you're not seeing, you are not seeing the time it took for this to dry. I have tea setting over to the right, so I will drink my tea, and I'm sitting in front of a window, and the sun comes in and dries this quite nicely, so I don't have to get out my hair dryer and give it a good blow dry on stuff. So you're not seeing that, but keep in mind I'm having to let this dry between the coats that I'm putting on here, the color I'm putting on. And the stem, I just did the stem. That was the second color I believe I put on there. It already had green on part of it, and it had some pink over to the side, because those colors together with the green and the pink, we're going to get that nice brown in there. So I put another yellow based color on top, but it's still not going to be enough. That's not the final color that I'm going to put on there, and that's what I was talking about. I'm going to have to put a little more green on. These are some of the colors I added before, so I already have that color in there. So it's okay, I'm adding that back in, but it's still not quite the right color when I add the water. And I can get away with coming back with a final color on top of this and not muddying up, because I'm not putting these on too dark. I'm keeping a light hand on there. And I know it looks dark is because it's starting to build up on there, but it is leaving me a little bit of space to correct that, because I know that once my brush hits it right here, that it's not going to be the color I need. It's closer, it's a lot closer, but I still need some more color in here, and it needs to be a little more yellow on top of that. And we have a better yellow over there, and that is just not the yellow that I need. It's just a little too light. So that's, again, that's going to come in from the set, and it's just going to help us fix all of that floral in between. Well, one of the last things that I wanted to do on here was work on those wings. And if you've seen part one, you know I said that I didn't line everything in, because when you're doing these Cicely Mary Barker fairies, you're going to have to be freehanding those wings. And that's what I'm doing. I have the main lines in there, but I'm coming back with a few extra colors, just again to get a little bit more form, because the final detail work is not going to come until the next video. So this is kind of a little bit of layer at a time, again going super lightly on these. And you can see me pausing occasionally and looking back and forth, trying to count and make sure I have the right number of veins in. I'm doing that right there. I'm counting them, making certain. So I have my reference photo. You can kind of see in the upper corner there, the upper left-hand corner, my iPad. It has my reference photo on it. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm looking at that and making certain that I have the right number of veins and the right colors in the right places. I wanted to add just a little more dark in before I closed up shop for the day on this piece. So that's what you're seeing here. I've picked up the shell color and I'm coming back in and just darkening those areas so that it'll be all ready to go for part 3. And I hope you will join me for part 3. That will not be out tomorrow when you're watching this video. If you're watching as I'm putting that out, it will be out the next day. So I'm having to do an every other day schedule on this one. But I have some other projects coming up. I'm so happy you joined me for this one. I hope you'll join me again for part 3. But until then, my friends, I will see you in the next one.